Hey, what's up? It's Jared with Ditch Auto, and I've got another challenge for you. This month, we are going to be challenged to take photos of pets. Now, pets are an interesting thing, whether you have them or not. You probably know somebody who has a pet. Maybe it's a pet that you enjoy spending time with when you're visiting that person. But a lot of us do have pets, whether it's a dog or a cat or a bird or a fish or something like that. Our pets are interesting creatures. Some of them are fast moving, some of them are not, and they have personalities of their own, and so it's fun to be able to capture those things. I take a lot of pictures of my dog because my dog interacts with my kids a lot. My kids love the dog, like I've kind of grown to love the dog, and it's just interesting, you know, when we first got the puppy, it was super cute, and of course he's a little more grown and annoying now, but when he was a puppy he was super cute, and I wanted to take pictures and kind of document the dog's life, and so we started an Instagram account for the dog, which I haven't really been posting pictures to probably for like the last 6 months, but nonetheless we were taking a lot of pictures of the dog, especially with my kids. So as you're thinking about taking pictures of a pet this month, whether it be your pet or somebody else's pet, or maybe you're going to challenge yourself to go and do some pet photography for someone, maybe even on a professional level, I want you to think about a couple of these things. I have some tips for you to kind of help you get better photos out of your pets or your friends' pets. Now, typically, if you're thinking about a dog or a cat or some sort of animal that's typically on the move, they move fast. I mean, it's hard to take pictures of a dog, especially if it's a squirrely dog that's running around and hyperactive, kind of like my dog is sometimes. Unless the dog's worn out and it's just ready to chill, chances are it's going to want to run to you or to someone else in the vicinity. So I recommend using a longer lens, maybe more of a telephoto lens, and using a zoom lens sometimes comes in handy here, because then you can zoom in and out. You can get in real close to the dog. If the dog starts to move, or the cat or whatever animal, you can zoom out a little wider when they get closer. Using a prime lens like what I have on this camera right here, the 85mm, is a fantastic lens to get some really cool shallow depth of field shots, maybe with some really beautiful bokeh in the background or something like that. But it means that I have to run around and move a lot more in order to get the shots that I want of the animal. Using a prime lens, you don't have any zoom, so your zoom essentially becomes your feet. You're moving around trying to get those shots and kind of compose the shot you're looking for, whereas zoom lens allows you a little bit more flexibility. So not to say that one is better than the other, it's just a kind of thought to have when you're thinking about what you're going to be shooting, the dog or cat or animal that you're going to be photographing, its temperaments and all of that stuff. I would also use continuous autofocus. Like, continuous autofocus is going to be your friend on your camera. For me, I typically have my camera set up with back button focus, and back button focus means that when I push that button down, focus is running continuously. I don't necessarily have to make any changes in my camera to do anything different. I'm just, as long as I'm pressing down this button, autofocus is running. So turn on AFC potentially, autofocus continuous on your camera. That's another way of doing it. And if you're on a Canon, typically turning the AI servo on, or the servo on, is an option there for your continuous autofocus. That single shot focus isn't going to work for an animal that's running around, because your focus point is going to be moving, your subject is going to be moving quite often, and so you need that autofocus or that continuous autofocus there to help you maintain focus on your subject. I also recommend taking a burst of photos rather than just shooting one here at a time. A lot of people will just shoot one photo here and there, look at their photo and say, oh, I didn't get the shot. With animals, children, anything that's fast moving that you can't really control that well, taking a burst of photos at a time is going to give you a much better chance of getting a good photo. Don't be afraid to take 30 or 40 photos in a burst and take one of those as a good shot, or even you might miss all of them. I mean, you're going to miss any opportunities that you don't try and shoot. So if you put burst on and try and follow the animal around, especially with continuous autofocus on, trying to get that shot, I mean, they may be blinking, their tongue may be hanging out weird, something might be weird about the photo, but then just a split second later it could be perfect. And if you're worrying about taking a photo and looking at it and taking a photo and looking at it, you're not going to get that shot. I recommend using a burst mode on your camera, especially if your camera has a high frame rate burst. I would recommend using that, like on this A7R III that I have right here. Very fast burst on the capture rate, so I can get lots of shots and hopefully get that perfect one. You're also most likely going to want to freeze the action, especially like I said earlier, we have some hyperactive pets out there that are moving around fast, and you want to be able to freeze the action, because if they're moving and you're trying to follow them, it's very hard to actually maintain sharp image when you capture it if your shutter speed is too slow. So you're going to want to increase your shutter speed. I recommend going up to maybe like 1/500, 1/800th of a second. If it's a really fast moving animal, maybe they're jumping, you're trying to capture a dog jumping or a cat jumping from one thing to the other, you're probably going to want to increase that even more, maybe up to 1/1000th of a second on your shutter speed, which means that if you're in a lighting situation that isn't extremely bright like outdoors, you're going to have to open up the aperture on your lens as wide as possible and maybe increase that ISO a bit as well. Just don't increase it so much that you end up getting too noisy of a photo to use. Obviously, some cameras are better in low light than others, but I do recommend with fast-moving pets, increase that shutter speed a bit so that you freeze some of that action. My last tip for photographing pets is just to be safe, not only for you, but keep the pet safe as well. It's really easy for us to want to get these perfect shots that are set up in a certain way. So you take your pet out to somewhere to take a photo, you want to make sure that you're being safe, that if you're out in a public place, that you keep your pet leashed, or at least you are in a place where you're aware of any other animals that are in the area. You just really want to be safe and make sure that your animal doesn't become potentially harmed in the process, or some other animal harmed, especially maybe if your dog or cat or animal or whatever is a little bit more aggressive. So just be careful, be safe, be aware of your environment, and have fun in this month's challenge. Make sure that you head on over to the Facebook group. Link is down in the description below. And the Facebook group is where you're going to want to go and upload your photos that you take, share your thoughts, comment on other photos, ask for critiques on your photos, advice, whatever, all that good stuff. Share your settings, share a little bit of the story behind your photo, tell us a little bit about it. We love to interact with your photos, and everybody that's in the group, there's almost 4,000 people in the group now at the time that I'm filming this. It's a great community of people around the topic of photography, taking part in these challenges every month with you. If you want to learn more on how to get out of automatic mode and start shooting in manual mode using some of these things I was talking about, like adjusting your shutter speed, check out my Ditch Auto course. It's a free course that teaches you how to get out of automatic mode and start shooting in manual. It's definitely going to help out a lot when shooting these pet photos. So that's going to do it for today's video. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, and also subscribe to Ditch Auto here on YouTube so that you can get updated when we put out new videos. Until next time, have fun shooting, and we'll see you in the Facebook group. Take care.